Hey everyone, Nubkeks here. Hope you're having a great day. In today's video, we're going to be testing out the Butcher, and the theory that I've been putting forward in a lot of my tier list videos, a lot of the videos have been talking about the Butcher, is playing the Butcher as basically a specialist, kind of subbing him in for the sort of spot that Zool would fill in a team comp. That's the rough idea, and it's something I've been trying to work out. It was actually something I noticed very much so when in my last video as well, when my last Philosophy Friday or Nubkeks type video, where I was talking about Sray's video on Samuro. One thing I noticed when I was kind of editing that video after I talked about it was that the Butcher is I think he's number 2 win rate or number 3 win rate at every league up to Master League. In Master League, he's substantially lower in terms of his ranking amongst heroes. Well, where in the lower leagues, he's really, really high. By the way, this is a really bad level 1. We're getting our asses kicked. We don't have a good level 1 composition at all. So I was kind of worried that we were trading a bit too much or looking for a bit too much damage. I think ETC even re-engages at some stage, or else he had engaged already a bit too hard. I don't remember. But one of the things I've been trying to work out was, okay, so ETC is engaging right here. I was like, what are you doing? Please don't die. Please don't die. I was trying to work out, why does the Butcher not function as well in the higher leagues? I think it's definitely that you, in Master League level play, is that you get punished more for your positioning, and that people go out of position a little bit less. You can see my position here, for example, it's pretty bad. Luckily Medivh is saving me. Gonna be juking around. I was kind of hoping a portal might pop out, so I was kind of juking around. Unfortunately there was no portal, but I do just barely make it out. Gonna Hearthstone out, so rough start to the game for sure. But I was thinking that in the lower leagues you get a lot more kills. They're a lot more bloodthirsty, so it's much easier to build up your quest, your trait here, where you need to get 125 stacks of blood. Much easier to pick that up from kills and stuff like that, from ganks, from roaming around. Much more difficult at the higher levels of play. For example, despite all the chaos that's been going on, that is, I think, the first kill of the game. Or maybe the second kill, I'm not sure. But yeah, there's a lot less kills, so it's much more difficult to stack up your quest. So that was kind of prompting my theory that the Butcher would work well as a specialist. Much like Zool, you kind of switch between 2 lanes. So you're going between 2 lanes, clearing out minions, and just farming your stacks off the minions. So that's what I'm going to be testing out in this game, seeing how does he function when you play him in very much that specialist kind of role. And he's similar enough to the Butcher as well. When you go into, our teammates were a little bit slow in the follow-up there. I think we could have got the kill, but it's no harm. We still got Chen very low, and that's still worthwhile in itself. But yeah, roughly speaking, that's what I'm going to be trying to do. So you see that I'm going to be fairly passive in the lane, especially now when I'm against Thrall in this lane. But I'm going to be roaming between the mid lane and the bottom lane, much as you would do on Zool, clearing out those minions. I think if you compare the two, let's talk about them in the team fights. I think later in the game, the Butcher's going to be much more powerful, whereas Zool mostly brings control. The Butcher, he brings a little bit of control, but then a lot of the team fight pressure and power that he brings comes from just the sheer damage output and the threat that he creates. And very importantly, Lamb to the Slaughter, a very good heroic ability. So I'll be using to sort of leverage those things later in the game. He's going to be very much a beast. I think early game, in terms of their laning, the Butcher, I think he's not as safe as Zool would be. And also, this was something I very much noticed, is that whereas the Butcher's got very good wave clear, unlike Zool, where, okay, if you're basically soloing 2 lanes as Zool, 2 lanes that are close together, you can use your scythe to clear them very safely and very effectively, and you get the value out of Zool's trait, even if you do it at range. This is something I really learned in this game. Kind of laning against Thrall or laning against Chen, and it's very much this issue of, yeah, I can use my hamstring because I put my level 1 and level 4 talents into making it do more damage to minions and in giving it longer range. As you can see, I can clear the wave out really easily from range. However, if I do that, it's actually very difficult for me to get there and collect the meat. So I actually want to let the lane push a little bit. You can see I'm actually going aggressive on Thrall with my charge here in order to get that meat that I dropped. I knew it would be safe to do so, and just kind of scared him away, so I was able to pick up those meat stacks. But yeah, I had to devote a lot of attention to actually collecting the meat. Whereas with Zool, you clear the things at range. It's not a big deal at all. You basically just, you turn around, your trait pops even at range. You spawn those extra minions, fantastic, no pressure, no harm. You can see, for example, those meat stacks, we cleared out the minions, but we're not going to be able to get those, they're too far away. Gonna let these ones push into the tower a little bit and just do some damage to Thrall. Gonna heal off the Thrall as well, which is pretty useful. One thing I was noticing for myself too in this laning phase was I could potentially be using my W on a melee minion or something like that to try to heal myself up, and I could have been more aggressive in the lane. I was just being cautious, honestly. I was being very cautious in this and not putting too much pressure on. My level 7 talent's going to be a big part of this. You can see me immediately being way more aggressive. I pick up victuals. What this means is that anytime a minion near me dies, I think it restores... it's either 3 or 4%, I think, of my max HP. Insane lane sustain. It's very much like Zul's ability, or his talent at level 7, which gives him a whole ton of self-healing. So I'm going to use my charge on the Gul'dan to interrupt his drain life. And there you go, we actually get a kill on him. So that flank worked out fairly successfully. A kill does gives us 5 stacks of our meat, which is pretty sweet. And yeah, it's going to help us stack up a little bit quicker. Our teammates are actually doing a pretty good job here, zoning out this guy. I do charge on the Li Ming, but I cancel it and turn around onto the Malfurion instead. There we go, pick up the Malfurion kill. Fortunately, the towers are there, plus a Li Ming. A bit too dangerous to grab that meat stack yet, but I think I do eventually get to it. But look, you can see we got Brightwing healing us, but also those victual heals. And going from basically a third of our health, we're pretty much back up to full, purely from that level 7 talent, plus a little bit of extra healing for Brightwing. It really does add up. It's really very nice. There you go. We are literally at full health again right now. So really, really nice in terms of lane sustain and what you're going to be able to do. And yeah, here you go. We're going to start taking our mercs as well. You can see just how much damage we do to merc camps. This is also something that Zul can't do, right? Zul's pretty bad against mercs because his damage is very low. He does a lot of AoE damage, making him great against minions, and his trait great against minions. The rest of it, not so much. I think we could have maybe got a kill on the Thrall there. It would have been definitely ambitious, but you know, a Medivh portal for the ETC into a bit of a combo. Maybe could have killed him, but you know, just harassing him off the lane works as well. Medivh is looking, kind of coming a bit aggressively in here, just seeing them. Okay, they're doing their merc camp, but really no one was in a position to make anything happen. So I'm just going to walk away, actually. Not even going to take the portal. I'm not going to worry about that too much. The enemy team has got level 10, you see, so it's pretty difficult for us to make anything happen. Now, once again, we're going to get another big power spike for the Butcher, which is we're going to get Lamb to the Slaughter here at level 10. Going to massively increase our pick potential. And again, you're going to see probably quite a different sort of playstyle coming out from me from this point on too. Level 7, I feel, is a big power spike where even Thrall, who's a massive lane bully, arguably one of the best solo laners in the game, is going to just fall apart. We're going to wreck him. It was a pretty good Lamb to the Slaughter there, but the Chen is unstoppable because he was in his barrel, so he actually escapes. I have to say, you're going to notice this throughout this game, is the Chen actually plays phenomenally well. On the barrel choice, very few Chens actually taking the barrel at the moment. It's all about that Storm, Earth and Fire, which is massively effective. This Chen goes for the barrel, and it's really good. It really wrecks face the barrel in this particular game. I was very impressed with that particular choice coming from the Chen. I'd probably actually give him the MVP award in this game. But yeah, the Lamb to the Slaughter would have hit him, but he was unstoppable. So unfortunately, we don't get the kill on the Chen. We kill the Li Ming though, and then I actually quite like that solo mosh pit just because of the lane pressure it's going to grab us with the sort of staggered deaths on the enemy team. I thought it was really nice. So yeah, I actually quite like that one there. And kind of transitioning this into a pretty good sort of series of plays. Not going to charge the Li Ming immediately. Gonna wait and get some damage down on her first, and there you go, that worked out really well. And hey, boom, pause the clock, 8 minutes in, quest finished. So that's, roughly speaking, how quickly you should finish it. I think we had, on the whole, I would say, a good early game. Again, you can see this barrel, he just walks away. Did time the charge this time, though, to get him as soon as he comes out of the barrel, so that worked out nicely, and Thrall's in a bit of a rough spot. He does, unfortunately, the Ring of Frost didn't quite land. So Thrall is able to sort of walk away from this. Probably should have hit him with the hamstring earlier. But oh well. But yeah, 8 minutes in, we finished the quest. Like I said, I think it was good early game overall. Had a very bad level 1. Then got caught out in the lane as well. Had to Hearthstone back. However, we also, from that point on, was pretty much soaking 2 lanes for the most part fairly effectively. Got, I think, about 3 kills or something. It didn't die. So yeah, I would say on the whole, pretty good. On the whole, pretty good. Unnecessary Lamb to the Slaughter there. In the end, my damage output was actually higher than I expected with the quest being finished. I'm not going to complain though. Now I'm in a bit of a tough spot. Medivh has backed off, you see, so kind of not in a great position. Do get a nice little bit of a return damage on the Li Ming, but I am getting picked off. Is Medivh Hearthstoning or is he just AFK? No, he's Hearthstoning. Okay. I think he was Hearthstoning, then stopped to see if he could save me, then realized he was going to be too late and just went back to Hearthstoning again. That was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, I think, you know, underestimated my own damage and kind of wasted a Lamb to the Slaughter there on the Malfurion, who had been polymorphed by Medivh anyway. So could have saved on, held on to that, and then maybe, in fact, would have definitely got a kill when they kind of turned it around on me. But just a bit unfortunate, bit of counter synergy, and just being more powerful than I expected with that the quest finished so early on. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, I think you finished that quest really quick. Here you go. This is how quick you destroy a siege camp. Actually, going to use my Q to finish off the other one and focus on my basic attacks. One little tip, by the way, with the Butcher, didn't do it properly there, but your Q isn't a basic attack reset. So you land a basic attack, then you Q immediately, and then you basic attack again. And I think that it actually speeds up the rate of your basic attacks if you do that. It's pretty sick. It's pretty effective. Here we go against this Bruiser camp. You can see, by the way I'm trying to move around this Bruiser camp. You can see I'm actually just kiting one of the melee minions at all times. He's just running around the other guy. This also helps with the Butcher too. It's not too important on the Butcher in terms of your conserving your HP. On other heroes, that can be an effective way to conserve your HP. As you can see with the Butcher, on the final minion in a Merc camp, I'm just going to throw down my brand, my W on it, and heal up. And it's not a big deal at all. In terms of health, I'll walk away with max health no matter what. But it did help with the Butcher. In terms of the Q talents that I picked up, it does help landing those and sort of maximizing the damage output of them. That was a pretty good Ring of Frost. However, the Malfurion does kind of keep them alive. You can see him just focusing down the fort here, able to melt through that pretty quickly. So that's pretty damn good. One of the things I like saying with the Butcher is that, you know, you're kind of like a Dragon Knight in yourself. You're pretty powerful. I thought I played that pretty well, getting the stun onto the Gul'dan and then landing the Lamb to the Slaughter onto the Malfurion at the same time. So Malfurion was basically taken out of the fight and prevented from actually saving him. Let our teammates then follow up, and blam, you got 2 kills. We didn't actually kill the Malf. In fact, do we get 3 kills? Oh no. Thrall walks away with a sliver of HP, gets healed then as he makes his final escape. But still, we got 2 kills out of that. I think it's a pretty good engage. I think you can see a definite tempo swing in the game as well, from the point of, I suppose, hitting that sort of mid-game power spike of the Butcher, where our talents are coming online, our pick potential's coming online, and our quest gets finished and our damage gets massively amplified. I think from that sort of 8-minute mark to this 12-minute mark, I'd say up to that point, I think the enemy team was definitely winning. They had the lane pressure, they had the first Dragon Knight. I think from that point, you can see a definite swing, where suddenly it's kind of gone very much in our favor. We've got the first fort of the game, been getting a lot of Merc camp pressure. It's been working out pretty well. I was kind of looking at the midi-map at this point as well. Our teammates do seem to have caught out people. I'm just taking a quick glance over to see what's going on. Decide to finish off the Merc camp though, and then swing around. Lamb to the Slaughter will be up shortly, so ideally you probably wait until that comes up. Ooh, Ring of Frost actually goes down early, so this is a good opportunity. Cleanse out on the Gul'dan, trying to keep him alive, and a beautiful barrel from the Chen. This is what I was talking about. Really nice. His teammates really caught out of position with the Ring of Frost. Butcher charging in. The beautiful play, I have to say, from the enemy Chen, just using that defensive barrel and basically saving his team. I think we would have killed 1 or 2 of them if Chen didn't have a barrel right there. Would have been able to pick off 1 with just regular Butcher play, and then maybe even get another kill with the Lamb to the Slaughter on a secondary target. So yeah, I mean, Chen saving the day. MVP. For sure, MVP. It's a bit of a reset then in terms of pressure on the map. We walked away from that fight pretty bruised. The enemy team was pretty well in a pretty good condition. Gonna grab this siege camp, get that pushing. It won't create too much pressure, this siege camp. It has to push all the way to the keep walls in order to do anything. But it will do a little bit. In fact, the Thrall is way out of position right here. This is pretty nice. There we go. Nice work by the Medivh. Oh, there we go. Medivh finishes him off with a basic attack. Nicely done. But yeah, you can see with the Butcher as well, I'm like using my hamstring and then just stutter stepping my basic attacks, getting in on top of them. At this time, I'm sort of pushing this bottom lane in as well, just helping that get in there, get that siege camp to a position where it's going to do damage quicker. And then when it's pushing in, rotate in and help the Dragon Knight. We basically, at this point, have 2 Dragon Knights, me and the Dragon Knight, and we melt through a fort when we get on top of it. It's pretty swanky, have to say. And yeah, you can see just how disgustingly powerful this push is. Clearing out these minions, get our minions in there to help tank up for the Dragon Knight, help him get as much value as possible. It is our Jaina who's inside of it, which isn't ideal really, because she's our main range damage. You can see that went very badly. I got the Lamb to the Slaughter on the Malfurion, but the Dragon Knight punched him away as well. So if you're wondering what happens when the Dragon Knight punts away someone caught Lamb to the Slaughter, it punts him away and then yanks him right back. But it did kind of keep the Malf alive for a little bit longer. And then once again, I didn't really respect the Chen barrel, and big turnaround for the enemy team. Like I said, I think our team comp was in a bit of an awkward position, seeing as it was Jaina inside of that. It made it very easy for the enemy team to work around it. We didn't have the pressure of like a Blizzard or a Ring of Frost in that team fight. Jaina will get picked off. I mean, she throws out her stuff before she dies, which is fine. Bottom lane, we got some pressure. We got some damage on both the mid and the bottom keep. We still have all of our forts up, so it's not like a game-ending play, but definitely losing 4 heroes for nothing at this stage is pretty bad. Overstep from myself. Awkward team comp from ourselves because our Jaina was inside of it. And then I have to say, once again, very nice play from their Chen, and an unfortunate counter synergy between the Dragon Knight and my Lamb to the Slaughter. All those things combine, and it's like 3 kind of, let's say medium, I would say maybe a medium to high level sort of engagement mistake from myself, then sort of like a small to medium mistakes from the Dragon Knight and Jaina being in the Dragon Knight, and those 3 combine to lead to 4 of us dying when we have been quite significantly ahead. At this point I was like, we need to play this defensively, but the ETC is engaging quite hard right here. So definitely you can see I'm being very cautious, not really looking to follow up on anything. I mean, Jaina is dead, so we are a hero down, and once again, she's like our main source of damage. So yeah, this is what I was talking about. The ETC wasn't engaging hard earlier, but now he's engaging quite hard. I'm pinging retreat because like Jaina is not here. This is pretty bad. You can see we're getting pretty wrecked. Honestly, I throw out a Lamb to the Slaughter purely defensively. Jaina is now kind of going in, but we are in a really rough spot. I really do not like this team fight. But yeah, again, for myself on the Butcher, the Butcher, I think this is his problem, particularly at higher levels of play, right? Is that his damage isn't consistent. You cannot consistently do damage with the Butcher because he's very much a hard engaged hero. You go in, and I could take both of the Storm, but I decided to just not get it. I think I pick up Nexus Blades in this game. I'm just like, fuck it. Fuck it! Max PvE damage, let's do this. Specialist Butcher all the way. I think Bolt of the Storm is overall a better choice, but I kind of wanted to just go ham in this game and see how it would work out, honestly. But yeah, it's because you have to hard engage, right? You charge in, once you've charged in, you've got no ways to get out again apart from walking out or whatever sort of assistance your teammates can give you. With actually a very good combo with Medivh, I have to say, because Medivh can give us portals, he can give us Force of Will shields, very useful actually, and the polymorphs are great as well to help out the Butcher. Really nice hero combo between the 2 of them, and Medivh does pretty good range damage as well. This Gul'dan is like way out of position, I don't know what he's doing. So yeah, he goes in, I mean, Medivh arrives and helps pick up the kill. But I mean, we could have solo killed him, no problem. He should not have been there, for sure. He's definitely being too ambitious. The pick potential of the Butcher is huge, but definitely in a team fight, it is hard at this level of play to get your damage down. I think at lower levels of play, it's a bit easier because people focus fire a little less, they punish you a little bit less. Just the coordination is a little bit less, and as you saw with us killing the Gul'dan, when you're not super coordinated, that's when the Butcher really thrives. Bad, very bad Lamb to the Slaughter right there. There is an alternate reality, an alternate universe, wherein the Li Ming decided to go aggressive on me at that point. She walked into that Lamb to the Slaughter, we killed her, and you guys all thought I'm the best Butcher ever. Unfortunately, that universe is not our universe, but be assured it is out there. This is a dead Malfurion, and that's pretty nice. Now, at the same time, as you might have noticed, the Chen did go down to our bottom lane and pick off the keep. So we are down a keep, whereas the enemy still has theirs, which does make this awkward. And as you can see, big tempo swing. We went from being all of our forts up and like at the enemy keeps, basically, to being down a few heroes. You see, I went in and then pretty much backed off immediately. I'm actually in a rough spot, though. Nice Force of Will does keep me alive from the Medivh, so well played by him. Nice Force of Will once again from him on top of my brand, and being able to land a few basic attacks does keep me alive through that. But it's pretty gnarly. You can see him hopping in and out of those portals. It was a very rough situation there, definitely not good positioning for me, and once again great play from the Chen. That was pretty scary. I thought I was gonna die, and that might have even been game at that point with me dying right there, but we did get away with it luckily. And now we are creating some pressure, but we need to be careful. I say at this point with the Malfurion down, I was kind of eyeing up their bruiser camp as something that we could steal. We definitely need to be careful, certainly, but with the hero up and the rate obviously at which we can kill this, I think, you know, we should be able to grab this fairly safely. And there you go, we do grab it, which is pretty nice. The top lane on Dragonshire is a funny lane. It's because the bridges into the base are so narrow, it's exceptionally difficult to actually push in. It's one of those weird lanes. It's a really weird lane where you can, in a sense, you can almost ignore it. It's so hard to get to the enemy keep and actually destroy that keep. Generally speaking, what you'll find is you just win the game through the mid or the bottom lane before the keep even goes down up top. Get a bit of pressure on it though, for sure, and that's useful. See here, I'm coming to kill the bruiser camp. I can kill it very quickly, and it's not going to do that much this late into the game really, but it's a little bit of map pressure and a little bit of map vision that could help us kind of win control of this sort of shrine area. Brightwing in mid lane definitely needs to be a little bit concerned. The enemy team are there. There you go, once again, sort of kiting around that bruiser camp. Use our brand on the last one and come away with full health, which is kind of nice, and basically full mana as well. Now can I come join our team? Now I do have to be careful of this bottom lane though. This bottom lane is very much pushed in, and you know, the bruiser camp pushing in with the catapults, that could actually get core damage, so I need to come clear this out. And yeah, one of the things I noticed playing the Butcher in this game too is that well as those level 1 and level 4 hamstring talents really enhanced our wave clear early on, I felt that later into the game it really fell off a lot. At this point, by the way, this gets really interesting, right? I'm down bottom lane, our teammates are up top. You see, I'm just saying, be careful, right? I'm not there. And I'm making a tough decision. I could run up to help them fight, but I really don't think there's any need for us to fight. I think it's better, or I decided it would be better. There's really no need for them to fight, right? Because we've got control of bottom lane, or I'm re-establishing control of bottom lane, so we're not actually in any danger of the enemy team grabbing the Dragonite. But they are still fighting here, and like the tank is coming out, so I'm running up now. I'm like, all right, no, the fight is going down. I need to get here. My teammates have picked a fight. I kind of wish they hadn't, but they did. So we'll see. At this point, yeah, like they're diving on my allies. In fact, 2 allies go down. So I had arrived and kind of went ham. Jane is pinging the danger on me, but like I know I'm in danger. There's really no way I'm getting out of this. You can see the damage I put down on the Li Ming. So it's kind of curious, actually. I felt that was a really interesting play. I think there's a lot of interesting things can be said about that whole like last minute or so with me going bottom lane, my teammates going top and stuff like that. I kind of realized when we actually took the fight, I was like, yeah, you know, when I do get like a good engage, I'm obviously really powerful. We just soloed out the Thrall, even with the enemy team all on us basically, and even did a lot of damage to the Li Ming as well. I was like, okay, if I get into a team fight and we get a good engage, we can really do a whole ton of damage. So maybe we should be looking for team fights a bit more than I expected. At the same time, the enemy team did have the push in bottom. I was checking, we do actually have Mosh Pit, so they could make something happen here, but Jaina goes top instead, and she doesn't get there in time. And a nice barrel from Chen does ensure they pick up the thing as well. So they do get the Dragonite. This is pretty scary. But yeah, it was interesting. I did say to my teammates to be careful though, and again, there was no reason to fight up top lane, because we had control of bottom lane, and the shrine down bottom lane, the enemy team couldn't get a Dragonite off of it. So really there was no huge reason to fight, unless they found like a good position, like a good opportunity to get some picks or something like that, 4v5, which is possible for sure, but it didn't work out great. I think they overcommitted to the fight a little bit. Maybe the enemy team had a really good engage, I didn't quite see honestly, so I was a little bit late coming up to it. But anyway, you can see I pinged onto the Malfurion right there. They were again overextended against the Butcher. Like I said, the Butcher's strength comes from, I think one of his main strengths comes from his pick potential with Lamb to the Slaughter. You can see that in full effect right there. I mean, they had a Dragonite, they had a couple of heroes nearby, but Chen had his barrel down, just charge Malf when he gets stunned, hit him with Lamb to the Slaughter, and we just kill him, easy peasy. And now they're down their healer, so yeah. Definitely a big, excuse me, ooh, nice ring, and a nice mosh pit as well. Very nice, good teamwork. Yeah, I thought like our team, really interesting this game. I felt our teams had some really bad moves. Like the level 1 fight I felt was really bad. And then like the ETC engaging really hard a couple of times. I felt like we had a couple of sort of bad moves, but then I felt like some of the team fights were actually really good as well. This one just gonna get a kill on the thrall for swag purposes. Just hooks down the core, and there you go. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting to actually get to play the Butcher as a specialist. I do think it works really well. I think he's really strong. Obviously I focused quite a bit on the split push and stuff. I think it was warranted. But like, as you see, as opposed to Zool, who I feel falls off a lot later in the game because his damage is wank, the Butcher's got crazy damage. So he can be really powerful in the team fights, and the pick potential is insane with Lamb to the Slaughter. I mean, you can see, like, we dive the enemy team and catch them out, and they go down. I would have given MVP personally to the Chen. I didn't vote for anyone because Chen didn't actually make it. But yeah, I mean, the MVP algorithms don't quite account for the fact that Chen's barrels were freaking awesome in that game. He really did a great job. There you can see the stats. We did a fuck ton of siege damage despite not being in the Dragon Knight at any stage. We also did a lot of hero damage. And yeah, it worked out pretty well. I thought we had a little bit of an awkward composition in the sense that we didn't have the best sort of sustained or the best consistent damage, like I mentioned a couple of times during the thing. The Butcher, he's not the most consistent teamfight damage because he gets countered pretty easily. It's difficult to get that engage in the team fight. I mean, you're very much an all-in hero. Like when the chain is pinging retreat, it's like, yeah, I know I'm in danger, or I know I'm gonna die. There's really nothing I can do about it. It's not like I can teleport out. I'm like, I'm in, and that's it. You go in and you're in. There's no out for the Butcher. It's like you go in, you brand someone, you try to stay alive as long as possible. But yeah, I think as well that he is a hero that obviously does very well when he gets the sort of support. It's one of the things, you know, like a lot of melee assassins at sort of the higher levels of play, like Kerrigan as well, they are reliant very much so on their allies, like their support heroes in particular, and their warrior heroes, and actually backing them up. Like Medivh did a pretty good job, I thought, in this game. There are a couple of times where we were caught in a tough spot, but the Medivh shields came in and saved us. I mean, like something like Uther with Divine Shields on the Butcher would work really well. Tyrael with Sanctification. You could have some really nice combos that would work very well. But yeah, on the whole, I haven't seen anyone actually make the Butcher work in Hero League this season, or in any game this season. Actually, all the Butchers I've seen have failed. So on my level of play, which is really interesting because I don't think he should. I think it's just been sort of a bad sample size or something. But he does seem, I tried him out like there, I thought it's pretty good. I felt that the talents, to go over the talent build again, we had the hamstring talents at level 1 and 4 to get extra range and extra minion damage and merc damage. I felt that those talents were really good in the early game. I felt the minion and merc damage became kind of irrelevant late game, but the Butcher's late game is very powerful, I think, and his mid game is insanely powerful. I think his early game is kind of crappy, so it's good to have those talents to kind of even out the early game and just focus very much so on farming those minion waves for your quest. As you saw, finished it by 8 minutes. It's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. And yeah, then transition into an insane mid game where you've got the Lamb to the Slaughter pick potential. You've got stupid damage because your quest is finished. You're hitting like a truck. You're hitting really fast. You can clear out merc camps very fast. You can destroy minion waves. You destroy structures. As you saw, our mid game tempo swing was insane. It went from the enemy team winning to us crushing them. Then we had a couple of misplays, a couple of very good plays from the enemy team, particularly their Chen. Kind of turned it around there for quite a while, but we did pull it out then in the end, just about. But yeah, very interesting. Oh shit, sorry guys, let me just bear with me 1 minute while I bring up the names of the other talents I actually forgot. Butcher talent calculator. Okay, here we go. Got the talent calculator up. So Chop Meat, that's your level 1 talent. Increases hamstring damage by 100% to minions and mercenaries. Pretty nice. Then I picked Flail Axe, level 4. Increases the length of hamstring by 40%. I actually quite like this one. I think there was a couple of times where I felt it actually was very useful. Even just helping out my teammates to just like clip Li Ming with the edge. Because it's a very long skill shot at that point. But like getting people with the end of that. It's a nice slow. I think it's a decaying slow. That's weird. I think that's a missed thing. I think it's a 40% slow over 2 seconds that fades. I could be wrong though. It's unlikely to be a 49.92% slow like this says. I think that's just a bug. Probably 40%, you'll have to check. But it's a nice little bit of a slow, and you can land this on a lot of heroes, and heroes in the back line or the mid line as well with this talent. So it's pretty nice, pretty useful actually. This one carries over well. Level 7 I picked up Victuals. Again, not very super useful late game, but that mid-game power spike, really nice. I thought it was very useful as well in this particular game because we're going up against a Thrall who's a big lane bully, and this like just helped us just crush the lanes basically and have massive sustain. Very nice on Dragonshire, which is all about rotating between the lanes and maintaining like a lot of lane pressure across multiple lanes. Thought Victuals worked really well. I think you could mix this one up. Like Insatiable Blade is pretty nice. The extra move speed, pretty good for keeping in range of people. You can see even with stutter stepping and the slow from our Q, we could have a bit of trouble kind of staying in range of people with basic attacks. So that would help out, and I think that's quite nice. Or this one's also pretty good, Meat Shield. They're all pretty good. I think you could switch this up one, depending what you need. But this is like a hardcore, like specialist butcher build. Lamb to the Slaughter, definitely better than Furnace Blast, significantly better in my opinion. The pick potential is insane, as you saw in that game. On this stuff, I went for Brutal Strikes, which is after we hamstring someone, our next 3 attacks do more damage. I just thought that's pretty good. That single target burst damage, really nice. So I like this one. Savage Charge would have been good. They had a pretty squishy team in this game, so I decided not to go for that. And then Cleaver, which is your basic attack splash. I think this is... I tried this on the PTR and it's all right, but I think it's major overkill when you combine when you already have Chop Meat and Flail Axe. I think your AoE wave clear damage is actually really strong, so I think it's an overkill. I think the single target damage from Brutal Strikes is better. Level 16, I think Enraged is definitely your best option here. When you go below 50% max health, you get 10 seconds of resistant, so reduced damage by 25%, and also 40% attack speed. That's hugely powerful. It's insanely good, especially when you consider that you're going to have a support. Like if you drop below 50% health and then blam, your support's on you, you're staying alive anyway. It's not a big deal, and you become very tanky. You're doing a whole ton of damage. And I mean, it also synergizes really well with Butcher's Brand, right? That's just such a great talent. I think this one is really good. The slow, longer fade, duration. I mean, that's pretty good too. Attack speed and movement speed. I like Enraged the most. I think that's really, really good. It makes your team fight much more powerful. It lets you as well be more flexible in terms of your engagements or being engaged upon. Yeah, it just makes you a bit more versatile. So I quite like that one. But I could see Crippling Slam, but this was the one I went for in this game. And then I did go for Nexus Blades. So I thought, obviously the 20% more damage really stacks up quite well when you consider the Brutal Strikes and you consider the maxed out trait and just how hard the Butcher hits anyway. He hits really hard. So I felt that the Nexus Blades would get a lot of value, and the slows and stuff pretty useful as well. I think Bolt of the Storm is a really good option as well, probably more of a go-to. I do like Slaughterhouse as well, that's the swag talent in my opinion. If you land a multi-person Lamb to the Slaughter, it's like, all right, we just won the game. But yeah, I'd probably Bolt of the Storm, again, just in terms of flexibility and letting you engage a bit more aggressively in team fights is probably the go-to overall. But I think the options are fairly open here. I think a lot of the options are fairly open, but this is probably, I would say, a pretty successful Butcher build. I think it works really well. I like it a lot for that sort of Grandmaster level play. I think it worked really well. I was happy to test it out. I didn't play the best, so yeah, and it's still very effective. I liked it. The sort of specialist type Butcher build, very effective on maps. Like, I think it'd be very good on Blackheart's Bay, rotating between top and mid. I thought it was very good in Dragonshire, rotating between bottom and mid. It'd probably be very strong in Tomb of the Spider Queen. Basically any maps where you've got 2 lanes in close proximity to each other that you can rotate between. Obviously you saw me doing it very much as a solo thing in this game. I think it would also work very well as like a duo lane type thing, right? Where you just, not a duo lane, excuse me, as like the 4-man rotation, right? You've got your solo lane up top, whatever, doing its own thing, and then you're rotating with a 4-man team. I think that could be pretty effective as well, with the Butcher there, and then that might also, being part of the 4-man team, might kind of counteract the problems I was having with basically collecting the meat. Like, okay, I can kill the minions really easily, but it's hard to actually get out into the lane and collect the meat. With a 4-man team, it's like, blam, we wipe out their wave real quick, our wave pushes in, and then you can go in, and even like halfway through the lane, just grab that meat pretty safely and get out. I think that could work pretty nicely. But yeah, there you go. Let me know what you think about it anyway, and what sort of, as well, I'd be kind of curious as to what sort of Butcher builds have been having success in the other leagues of play as well. I do think that this is probably the best one at Master League, but I haven't tested the other ones, but I really liked it. I thought it was fantastic. It worked really well, I thought, overall. And yeah, I thought it'd be cool to bring you a video showing you some insight into that. It's the first time I got to play the Butcher, really, since this rework. It's very hard to draft the guy. But yeah, with a bigger map pool now, and with in fact the map pool that we have now, the last patch was really awkward because it was a shitty map pool for the Butcher. But and even the patch before that a little bit. But this patch with all the maps being back, much easier to draft him, I feel. So yeah, I expect to even see a bit more of him now moving forwards. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.